to another Drive-In Double Feature. I'm Ryan,
I'm Nathan.
and this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before we get into anything at all, we have a Patreon over at patreon.com/Drive-In Double Feature Podcast. It's got some fun games, some fun conversations over there, just two friends hanging out, having a great time over there, which has content that's only $5 a month, which is not affecting any regular content whatsoever. But today, we are going to be talking about 1993's Carnosaur, which is directed by Adam Simon. And this was an interesting one, I guess. So how I came about this movie is, again, I've been listening to a lot of Siskel and Ebert reviews, and they were talking about the worst of 1993. Now, Roger Ebert said this was the worst movie in 1993,
Holy
but
crap.
Gene Siskel said this was he didn't say it was the best, but he gave it a nice positive review.
Yeah. Which
Uh,
when you said this
mo
movie, I remembered this because it was an odd one for Siskel to approve of.
Because he says, it's just he doesn't like it because it's like a great movie or anything. He thought it was a really fun time just for how absurd it was.
Yeah.
Um, so I was really interested to see if this movie did hold up. And the basic premise of this movie is that Diane Ladd, which is I think it's Dr. Tiptree, Dr. Tiptree.
Hmm.
She's been doing some experiments with chickens, and we don't really know what's going on, but all of a sudden, one of the chicken eggs is infected with something, and that something bursts out and starts going on like a bit of a rampage around town. Um, and that's pretty much the premise of the movie, where it's like these dinosaurs are running around town. But I just want to go ahead and get it out of the way, just like how I was very interested in this movie at the beginning of it
Hmm.
because there was a lot of interesting parts of like the dinosaur, and like there was some like there was some really cheap special effects, but this movie is very dull for the most
Yeah.
part.
Okay. So here's like the story, right? We watched this together and we were halfway through and we were both kind of like, am I missing something? Like, I feel like, especially me, I was like, I feel like either I'm not watching this properly or I've missed something completely. So I imagine the movie was just boring. That was the best explanation for it. It was just a boring movie because you watched it again.
I did watch it again, not because I had to, but just mostly because the I like I said, normally I watch these movies in a group, and they still wanted to see them, so I'm just like, you know what? Like, I didn't really absorb
Hmm.
Carnosaur enough. Like, let's just go ahead and do it again. So, and one thing we didn't disclose to the audience, like we were like an hour into the movie, and we were like contemplating like shutting it off, just like
Yeah. We were like, should we watch this like alone? Because I felt like we were talking over it at some point.
yeah. But we were already there was only 20 minutes left, and it's like we've already invested this time. We might as well just
Mhm.
finish it. But
And to be honest with you, the last 20 minutes pick up a bit.
they do. I That's the thing I will say is not as strong, but the most interesting parts are at the beginning and the end of the movie.
Yes.
Um, I think the biggest reason these characters in this movie, with the exception of Diane Ladd, I will say Diane Ladd, I do believe is trying her best,
Oh yeah, she's
and
having fun.
it's definitely the best performance of the movie. But everyone else in this movie is just the most boring, like flat characters. Like I don't really have a read on these people. And I watched this movie twice, and I will say I was more engaged watching it that second time, not
Hmm.
because I was loving it or anything, but just mainly because thinking like, like, okay, I was just more actively listening to the movie.
Hmm.
Um, but it doesn't really help much. I mean, because the main premise of the movie, like I said, is that like this people around town are getting like very ill. Like
Hmm.
there's a lot of scenes of people like coughing like in people's faces or sneezing.
Yes.
There's a scene in the diner where the chef like coughs and like puts accidentally puts his finger like coughs on like a soup, and then Clint Howard eats it.
Yes. And this movie does that thing that I actually think is like gross in movies where people eat like just like food and it's just kind of gross looking. Like Clint Howard's eating just like a regular meal. It's like green beans, mashed potatoes, but there's just something
Fried
about
chicken.
him eating is just so like disgusting. It just really grosses you out.
You just don't like seeing Clint Howard eat. Is that what you're saying,
I think so. I just
Nathan?
don't like seeing Clint Howard eat, which Clint Howard's fun in this movie, but he's not in it much. Why does Clint Howard not get bigger roles? I don't understand. He only plays like these bit parts in all these movies,
I mean, I did watch a movie he was the star in, which was, the Ice Cream Man.
which is getting a remake. But yeah, he's stars in a few movies, but for the most part, he only does bit stuff, but a lot of bit stuff.
He's a welcome character actor, I will say.
Oh yeah.
I like seeing him appear, especially when it's either he's kind of crazy or, he's just kind of like the mild manner type of guy, like in a Ron Howard movie, which is usually what he is.
Yeah,
And
well, except for in Solo, when he cameos in Solo.
I didn't see Solo.
What? Oh my God, that's the Ron Howard's best.
What the hell is Solo? Oh, is that rock
Uh,
climbing movie called Free Solo? It's like the
yes,
guy like
yeah,
rock climbing.
and Clint Howard's like, I'm a big fan. I hope you do a good job up there. It was actually really touching.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
maybe you're right.
I would get it if
But
I got pepped up by Clint Howard. I'd be happy.
I see. Well, I will be sure to check that out. But going back to this one, he does have like he's probably the second most memorable character in this movie behind Diane Ladd's character, but that's not saying much
Oh
at
yeah,
all.
most every other or all other characters here are really like just boring. Like you said, flat. Like it's a Corman flick. You would expect them to maybe be a little more eccentric, but instead they just go completely flat and uninteresting. They really could have like dug into it because the leading lady in this movie is like a very left wing anti and she's a super environmentalist and she's they could have really played into that and made her maybe like silly or annoying, but she's just kind of boring.
Yeah. And the male lead in this movie is which do you remember her name, Nathan? I should ask before we
No.
move on.
No.
It's Thrush.
That's right, Thrush, and we were discussing what Thrush was. We were like, what's
Yeah,
Thrush again?
it's a mouth fungus.
A mouth fungus. Ew.
And then the main guy, do you remember his name, Nathan?
No. Why? Stop asking me questions about a movie I watched.
His name is Doc.
Dot?
Doc, like
Dot.
doctor.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. That sounds about right.
So,
Even though there's a real
and
doctor in this movie.
there is, and his whole thing is that he is a guard at this excavation site, and Thrush doesn't want the and like these corporations to be digging at this excavation site. So they've chained themselves to these like dig like this all this construction equipment. And I said, at the beginning of the movie, there was a little tiny dinosaur that broke out of the egg. It started like it killed like a chicken truck driver.
Yeah.
Uh, it killed a couple other people. But like the big scene, like all the environmentalists are chained to this construction equipment, so they can't go anywhere.
Hmm.
The dinosaur just kind of shows up, and he just kind of uh, he eats them. Like the one guy's like, "Oh, hey, my scaly friend, peace," and he eats it, he eats him,
Which
and then like the girl's trying to kick away the dinosaur and then he just bites her leg off.
Which I actually think give this movie props. I actually really love that kill scenario. It's pretty inventive, the whole idea of like they're literally chained to this construction equipment, and so they are forced to just be eaten by dinosaurs. No running away scenes, nothing like that. So that's fun. And for the beginning of the movie, they choose to really hide the dinosaur. It's a lot of shots of like the arms and stuff like that. So you're building up to the dinosaur.
Well, there's one scene too where it's like these three people are out partying in the desert and they stop for a bathroom break, and then the dinosaur comes up and kills one of them, and then the dinosaur breaks into the Jeep, and he's not actively eat the dinosaur is not act. It's just like the dinosaur's hand, and it's just kind of clawing at
Uh-huh.
people, but it's very clearly some guy's hand inside of like a dinosaur glove, just going like "Roar," just
Yes, yeah.
tearing these people up.
Yeah, which is goofy. And we should bring up that this movie did come out before Jurassic Park. It was about a month, correct? A lot of people consider it a mockbuster, but I really don't. Like, I do think they were like, because I we had talked about this where this movie actually was in production and the rights were bought before Jurassic Park. But they found out about Jurassic Park during the making of this movie and they kind of changed it around. But even so, I really do not think this has anything like Jurassic Park written on it. Just that there's a
I don't.
dinosaur.
Yeah, I mean, if there was like the only way you would ever suspect that is that if you saw the dinosaur on the cover of the tape or something, and you're just saying like, "Oh, is this Jurassic Park or what?"
Hmm.
But other than that, there's zero similarities between the movie.
Yeah.
Uh, a- Now, do I think they probably capitalized on some of the Jurassic Park things? I
Oh, yeah.
do, because which we discussed this. This could be me. This is just me speculating,
Hmm.
but I suspected that they found out Laura Dern was in Jurassic Park, and they're like, "Well, how can we do that? Oh, we can get her mom." So they hired Diane Ladd for this performance in the movie,
Yeah.
and from what I could tell, like she did not want to do it, and they had to pay her a pretty penny to get her to be in this movie.
Gotcha. They must have paid her good then. That's it. Because she's an Oscar nominated lady. She doesn't, it's weird to see her in this movie. And that's the thing is you get her, you actually, I mean, for somebody who had to be forced with a truckload of money to be in a movie, she puts on her damnedest. I really think that she's probably the most fun part of this movie because she plays an evil doctor who hates humanity and wants to impregnate all women with dinosaurs, and she sells it. She sells it. She goes crazy on camera. She has a birth scene later in the movie. It's actually she's actually bringing something. Whereas if they got like a third-rate actor, it could have easily just have been as boring as every other character in this movie.
Yeah, I was kind of I really was digging her scenes. I was like, okay, like she's at least giving something to the movie, like because these other people, they're just flat as a board, and I do not
Yep.
care whether they live or die.
Hmm.
And uh, her whole plot is just so ridiculous. So the main plot that she does is she's kind of infected all these chicken eggs that have gone out.
Hmm.
And because she's infected these chicken eggs, it creates this airborne illness, which is why everyone in the town is getting like these flu-like symptoms, but
Hmm.
it only majorly affects women. And like we said before, like these women, it turns out all like every woman in this town is now pregnant with dinosaurs.
Which is such a
Eh,
fun idea. That's such a like great idea. Like that, like I don't know that all these women have dinosaur eggs in front of them, or in front of them, in them at some
And
point
that's
in front of them.
how they give birth to them in those scenes is just like this one girl, like she shows up and she's like, I don't feel well. Then she's like, grasping her stomach, like, like it hurts so bad,
Uh-huh.
and then they lay her down, and then you hear like just some like the most disgusting special effects, no sound effects, where it's just like,
Uh-huh.
"Fine." I'm just like, it just,
It's just
and she gives birth
nasty.
to an egg. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like a goopy green egg. But like those are probably the most fun scenes. Diane Ladd later gives birth to an egg, and I do think it's funny because you said that like she's like a champ in that scene. She just bursts that egg like out. Well, no, it's a C-section.
Well,
That's right.
it-
Yeah, it comes
right.
out
It
of her
it
stomach,
bursts. Yeah, it bursts right through her stomach,
and she
just like an
just takes
alien.
it.
So yeah, and she's just like, oh, just she. But there's also a lot of other birthing scenes with like people giving birth to dinosaurs. Um, there's a scene too with the town sheriff. He's kind of walking around like, cause he cracks open these eggs and they're all black on the inside, and then he finds like this little dinosaur fetus in one of them, and he goes to the
Hmm.
lab and has it examined. And he has like the scene where he's walking around town, and then all of a sudden one of the dinosaurs shows up, and he busts out of his shotgun and just blows the dinosaur away. And he's standing over the dinosaur about to shoot the dinosaur, but then this dinosaur claw, like he shoves his dino claw like up this guy's butt, like so hard that it goes out his stomach.
Yes, yeah, which is insane scene for an insane what a character because you even said it this movie has way too many characters. There is so many plot lines because not only does that happen, there's a whole military plot line where they're going over what's going to happen to the human race.
They do that. They're talking about like, oh, like, at this rate, we could lose millions of, of people, of humans, and where the whole world will be overran by dinosaurs. Um, and there's also the sheriff and his wife. There's also one employee goes missing, so the dad shows up, and Diane Ladd apparently has like this full-grown T-Rex and this laser pen that
Yeah.
can't get out, which I didn't. It took me a couple of times, like both times. I'm like, what is this laser room? And that it's supposed to be a laser holding pen for the
Yeah.
dinosaurs, what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, which that is that's why I think this movie focused on the wrong things. I think focusing on the sheriff, the military, all of that wasn't what it needed. I kind of like the stuff where Diane Ladd was kind of in this super futuristic, um, like a building with all these experiments, and it had this really cool sci-fi edge where, like, when he ran in there, it's a dark room, and then he's surrounded by lasers, and all of his limbs are getting chopped off. It had a really interesting style to it, and I was like, okay, they needed to maybe lean more into the stylish part. But I imagine Diane Ladd it's on her own schedule, and that's why she doesn't really exist with the rest of the movie, and probably why she doesn't take up most of the movie.
She's not in any other location in the movie. She's in
Yeah.
her lab, and that's it. And Doc, the the security guy, like goes to infiltrates the lab, and he's holding Diane Ladd at gunpoint, like saying like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna kill all these eggs unless you tell me what's going on, type of thing.
Hmm.
And he and that's where she goes into this long monologue about how the human race is inferior to dinosaurs, and we took
Hmm.
the earth away from dinosaurs, and she wants to give it back to them. And just a really like crazy monologue that for somebody to say. And I hate to say it, but like, the way we're describing this movie makes it sound like this like insane movie of like people like birthing all these dinosaurs, but
Yeah.
it's really not, in my opinion. It's not done any sort of way. And this movie too, and this could be just because it's a really bad rip that's on YouTube, but this movie is very dark in the literal sense where it is
Yeah.
hard to see things.
I think it might be the rip, to be honest with you, because I saw some screenshots of this movie and they're pretty bright. I imagine there's probably Shout Factory, whatever, Arrow video release of this, and they probably cleaned it up. Because, yeah, the version on YouTube is very, very hard to see. So, like, you do see a big dinosaur at the end of the movie. There's a big dinosaur fight, and you can barely see it. You can tell it's bad. It's like really rough claymation, definitely not doing Jurassic Park or anything, but it's just covered in darkness. But even Siskel and Ebert in their review said, "Oh, all the scenes are shot at dark, so you can hide the special effects." So I wonder if those scenes are meant to be dark.
It probably is not. It's supposed to be as dark as the one we watched, but but I do imagine that there were a lot of dark scenes.
Yeah.
And by the end of the movie, so I mean, all these people are like the whole town's like gone to chaos. Like all these people are birthing these dinosaurs. Um, Doc, who's now fallen in love with Thrush, and she's like pregnant with this dino baby. He's trying to protect her, and this dinosaur shows up, and he uses like this digger, like this backhoe,
Hmm.
to basically claw and to kill the giant dinosaur that's kind of been running amok through the town.
Yep.
And you think at that point, they're going to be getting like a hero's welcome, or like, they're finally at peace or whatever. He goes into their trailer, he puts them down to sleep, and all of a sudden the military just shows up and just guns them both down. Like they just shoot them dead. Like, and they're like
Hmm.
very purposely like overkill. And then
Yes. Yeah, they like that
and then
scene of him getting shot is really long.
and then at the end of the movie, they set the whole trailer on fire, everything goes ablaze, and credits.
Yeah, that's it. And
They
yeah, what an and this movie has two sequels, so I wonder what they do with it.
they do. I can't imagine it's going to be much better,
No,
but
or is a direct sequel to this in any way? I'm sure it
I,
does its
I
own thing.
I could see something like that. They're just using the name and it just goes on. Like so many sequels do that. Like they just make a completely different movie. But
Yeah.
um, I don't I I don't really agree with Siskel here. I don't think it's though. It's definitely not the worst movie I've ever seen. I don't even know if it's the worst movie of 1993.
No.
So I don't agree with either one of them. It's not a good movie. I wouldn't recommend this really to much of anyone. I mean, it's not worth the time investment. Like I said, I was kind of on board. I do give props to Diane Ladd, but the movie just kind of lost me at a certain point. And even rewatching it, I was just it confirmed for me that's like, yeah, I don't like this movie. It's not very good.
Well, I'm glad that you got it confirmed. Yeah, I didn't like this one at all. Thought it was boring. I think I'm actually more disappointed in this movie because it has a really cool idea, and I personally see what Siskel dug out of it, where he was like, "Oh yeah, I love this absurd idea," but I've seen so many absurd movies that I know this could have just done it a whole lot better. So it's just disappointing. Just disappointing. I couldn't get into it. And I do want to say,
Right.
oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I agree with his assessment that it's it's so absurd. Diane Ladd's character being this like that's her plot, but
Hmm.
it's only one positive aspect. Like even he said in the movie, like he thought even the dinosaur parts were bad in it. So
Hmm.
he gave it a positive review or a thumbs up. Like I don't, to me, it's like it did. Even his review wasn't a glowing review.
Yeah, which is true. But I do want to say I looked at the 93 Razzie, well, 94 Razzies for 93 movies just to see they did not nominate Carnosaur for Worst Picture, but they usually don't go that low. I do want to say
No,
Indecent Proposal won that year, which I've never seen that one. Body of Evidence, Cliffhanger, which is just wrong. I know that's not the worst of the year. Last
no,
Action Hero, once again, that's not even a bad movie.
that's an
And
entertaining movie.
I
Yeah,
love I love that movie. And then Silver. But Cop and a Half was also that year, it looks like, which yeah. And Demolition Man got nominated. Dang. Maybe the
I don't.
Razzies are wrong. Holy crap.
They're super biased with those sort of things. Like even like Stallone, they're like, oh, Stallone's such a bad actor. We're gonna nominate all of his movies, and it's like, yeah, he's not a good actor, but his movies are entertaining. I mean, like, I don't know how you could watch Cliffhanger and just be like, oh, that was the worst movie I've ever seen. Type. It just
In no world.
like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, whatever. And I'm just like, so I don't hold any weight to that. But like you said, though, like we've talked about this in the past. When we talked about the Razzies, it's like they're not. they're not digging for like the actual worst of the year. They're just like, who's a famous person that we can kind of like just make fun of this
Mhm.
year? That just because we that way we can be like, oh, they're not so good. You know, they're bad too.
Yeah, it's to make fun of those people, like the big top people. I mean, and it also just gets them more press if they're actually nominating like Carnosaur or maybe later Almighty
No,
Thor.
nobody would care.
Nobody's gonna
Nobody would
care.
care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's about nominating the children, making them win because
It's yeah, like why didn't they nominate Quinn Culkin for Good Son?
oh my God, yeah. I mean, she's horrible, but like she's a child. She's like a baby. Um,
Yeah,
but
but
yeah, that's a not
yeah,
recommend from both of us.
yeah, definitely not a recommend. I don't, I can't, I would not recommend this movie. But that's gonna do it. So Nathan, what are we going to be talking about next time?
All right. Well, Ryan, we are going to be watching White Heat, and that one is streaming over on Plex.
Oh, terrific.
But Ryan, what are we covering on Thursday?
Well, Nathan, we're going to be talking about the movie The Prowler, and that is streaming on Tubi for free right now.
Awesome. You know I'm excited to watch The Prowler. Oh, wait,
Well,
actually, is it The Prowler from 1981 or 1951?
51.
51. Okay, cool.
Well, terrific, Nathan. I'm glad you're excited. But if you have some thoughts and opinions, you can email us over at driveanddoubleFeaturePodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/driveanddoubleFeaturePodcast and check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/driveanddoubleFeaturePodcast. But until next time.
Until next time.